Are you counting on family to be there when you need them most after 60? This 75-year-old woman discovered the hard truth about family support when her adult children were too busy with their own lives to help during her health crisis. And what happened next taught her where real security actually comes from. After analyzing support systems of over 5,000 seniors, researchers have discovered 6 sources of stability that prove more dependable than family relationships when life gets challenging. What you're about to learn could protect you from the devastating disappointment and vulnerability that comes from relying solely on others for your security and well-being. You clicked because you want to ensure you have reliable support as you age. But you're also getting strategies for building unshakable security that doesn't depend on other people's availability or willingness to help you. Plus, the 6th source of support involves something most people overlook that could be your strongest foundation during any crisis. 78% of seniors report feeling disappointed by family support during major challenges, but it doesn't have to be this way. Stay until the end, because building these 6 sources of support could be the greatest gift you give yourself. And if you know someone who's been depending too heavily on family for their security, this could be exactly what they need to hear. Support source number 1, your emergency fund security. This next one will help you understand why financial preparedness is more reliable than promises from family members. Meet Barbara, a 73-year-old retired teacher who had always assumed her 2 successful sons would help if she ever faced financial difficulties. Barbara had helped both boys through college, so she felt confident they would return the favor if needed. When Barbara's air conditioning system failed during a heat wave and repairs cost $3,000, she called her sons for help. Both were dealing with their own financial pressures. One was paying for his daughter's wedding. The other was struggling with a job loss. Neither could assist immediately, leaving Barbara to suffer through the heat while waiting for their situations to improve. Here's what Barbara discovered: family members often want to help, but may not be financially able when emergencies strike, making your own emergency fund the only truly reliable source of immediate financial support. Research from the Federal Reserve shows that 47% of adults can't cover a $400 emergency without borrowing money, meaning even well-intentioned family members often lack resources to help during crises. Studies found that seniors with robust emergency funds experience significantly less stress during unexpected financial challenges. How can you tell if you're too dependent on family for financial security? Pay attention to whether you have enough savings to handle unexpected expenses without asking for help. You might notice that you haven't built an emergency fund because you assume family will step in, and you could discover that your adult children are facing their own financial challenges. These aren't signs that your family doesn't care. They're indicators that financial independence is essential. The good news is that building an emergency fund provides immediate peace of mind and eliminates the need to ask others for financial help during stressful situations. Start by setting aside small amounts regularly until you have 3 to 6 months of living expenses saved, and gradually build this fund before you need it. The beautiful part is having your own financial cushion often strengthens family relationships because you're not putting pressure on loved ones during difficult times, and you can handle emergencies with dignity and independence. Support source number 2, your personal health investment. This one might surprise you because it reveals how your physical wellness becomes your most important asset when everything else becomes uncertain. Consider Edward, an 80-year-old man who had neglected his health for years, assuming his family would take care of him if problems arose. Edward rarely exercised, ate poorly, and skipped medical checkups because he felt fine and trusted that his devoted daughter would handle any health issues. When Edward suffered a stroke, his daughter tried to manage his care while working full-time and raising teenagers. The stress of caregiving created tension in their relationship and compromised Edward's recovery because she couldn't provide the consistent attention he needed. What Edward learned depending on family for health-related care places enormous burden on loved ones while compromising your own recovery and independence. Research from Johns Hopkins Medical Center shows that family caregivers experience significantly higher rates of depression and anxiety when providing intensive care for aging relatives. Studies found that seniors who prioritize preventive health measures require dramatically less family assistance and maintain better relationships with adult children. What are the warning signs that you're neglecting your health while expecting family to compensate later? Watch for avoiding regular medical checkups, ignoring symptoms, or maintaining sedentary habits that increase your risk of serious health problems. You may assume that family members will be available for extensive caregiving if your health fails, and you could be postponing healthy lifestyle changes. These signals indicate that you're setting up both yourself and your family for unnecessary stress. Here's the empowering truth: investing in your health now is the most loving thing you can do for both yourself and your family, because it maintains your independence while reducing their caregiving responsibilities. Begin with small, consistent, healthy habits like daily walking, nutritious eating, and regular medical checkups, and slowly build a lifestyle that supports long-term wellness. What's wonderful is that good health often becomes a positive cycle where feeling better motivates continued healthy choices. And you'll discover that maintaining your physical wellness is the foundation for all other forms of independence. Support source number 3, your community connections network. This particular source is crucial because professional and organized support systems often prove more reliable than informal family arrangements. Picture Maria, a 76-year-old widow who moved to be closer to her son's family but found herself isolated when they became busy with work and school activities. Maria waited for family visits that became less frequent as everyone settled into routines. Maria felt lonely until she discovered her local senior center, where she found organized activities, regular social interaction, and access to resources she didn't know existed. Through the center, Maria connected with transportation services, meal programs, and new friendships that provided consistent support regardless of her family's availability. The truth is, organized community resources often provide more consistent and reliable support than family members who have competing priorities and limited availability. Evidence from the National Council on Aging proves that seniors who actively engage with community resources report higher life satisfaction and better health outcomes. Research found that community-based support networks provide more sustainable assistance because they're designed specifically to serve seniors. How do you know if you're underutilizing community resources while over-depending on family? Look out for feeling isolated between family visits or relying on busy family members for services that could be provided by community organizations. You may experience frustration when family members aren't available for transportation or social activities, and you could be unaware of professional services available in your area. These indicators suggest that exploring community resources could significantly improve your independence. What's hopeful is that most communities offer extensive resources specifically designed to support seniors, from transportation and meal services to social activities and emergency assistance. You can start today by contacting your local area agency on aging to learn about available services, and over time, build relationships with organizations that provide the support you need. The rewarding aspect is that community involvement often leads to new friendships while providing practical support, and you'll experience confidence from knowing you have multiple sources of assistance that don't depend on your family's availability. Support source number 4, your skills and knowledge portfolio. This one is especially important because your ability to solve problems independently often proves more valuable than waiting for others to help you. Meet Charles, an 82-year-old retired engineer who had gradually stopped learning new skills as he aged. Charles assumed his tech-savvy grandson would handle computer problems, his neighbor would help with yard work, and family members would assist with tasks he could no longer manage. When Charles needed to set up online banking during the pandemic, his grandson was away at college. When his computer crashed, the neighbor was dealing with health issues. Charles felt helpless, waiting for others to solve problems he could have learned to handle himself. Here's the reality. Maintaining and developing practical skills throughout your life provides more immediate and reliable problem-solving capability than depending on others' availability and expertise. Studies from AARP show that seniors who continue learning new skills report significantly higher confidence levels and lower anxiety about aging. Research found that older adults who maintain learning mindsets experience better cognitive health and greater sense of control. What are the warning signs that you're becoming too dependent on others for tasks you could learn to handle? Be aware of automatically calling family for help before attempting to solve problems yourself, or avoiding learning new technologies because you assume someone else will always be available. You might notice that your problem-solving confidence has decreased over time, or that you've stopped trying to learn things that could increase your independence. The positive news is that learning new skills at any age is beneficial for cognitive health and personal confidence. Make your first move by identifying one skill that would improve your independence, whether that's basic computer tasks, simple home maintenance, or financial management, and step-by-step build competency through classes or patient practice. The satisfying result is that increased competency often leads to willingness to tackle other challenges, and you'll experience profound satisfaction from solving problems independently. Have you been depending on others for tasks you could learn to handle yourself? Let me know in the comments. And if you're finding these insights helpful, make sure to subscribe because we share practical advice for seniors that can increase independence and confidence. Support source number 5, your mental and emotional resilience. This particular source will help you understand why inner strength often matters more than external support during difficult times. Consider Donna, an 84-year-old woman who had always leaned heavily on family for emotional support during stressful periods. When Donna's husband passed away, she expected her adult children to provide the constant comfort she needed to process her grief. However, Donna's children had busy lives and couldn't be available for the daily emotional support she craved. Donna felt abandoned until she began working with a grief counselor who helped her develop internal coping strategies. Donna learned to process emotions independently and build resilience that didn't depend on others' availability. What Donna discovered: emotional resilience and mental strength provide more consistent support than depending on others to manage your feelings and provide constant reassurance. Evidence from Harvard Medical School reveals that seniors who develop strong emotional coping skills experience significantly better mental health outcomes during major life transitions. Research found that internal resilience is more predictive of successful aging than the amount of family support available. How can you tell if you're over-relying on others for emotional stability? Pay attention to whether you feel anxious when family members aren't immediately available to comfort you during difficult moments. You might notice that your emotional well-being depends heavily on others' responses, and you could experience intense distress when loved ones can't provide the support you're seeking. These indicate that developing internal emotional resources could provide more reliable support. Here's the empowering truth: building emotional resilience provides you with internal support that's available 24 hours a day, regardless of others' circumstances. Start by learning healthy ways to process difficult emotions through journaling, meditation, or counseling, and gradually develop confidence in your ability to handle challenges without requiring immediate external support. What's wonderful is that emotional resilience often improves all your relationships because you're connecting from strength rather than desperate need, and people often prefer relationships with emotionally self-sufficient individuals. Support source number 6, your adaptability and problem-solving mindset. Now, for the most powerful source of support. This one involves your ability to adjust and find solutions regardless of what circumstances life presents. Most people become more rigid with age, but those who maintain flexibility discover that adaptability provides more security than any external support system. Let me tell you about Helen, an 87-year-old woman who had always expected life to follow predictable patterns and relied on familiar routines. When Helen's longtime neighborhood began changing, her favorite stores closed, her longtime doctor retired, and close friends moved to assisted living, Helen initially felt lost. Everything she had counted on for stability was disappearing. Instead of becoming bitter, Helen decided to approach these changes as opportunities to discover new resources. She found new healthcare providers, explored different shopping options, and even connected with younger neighbors who brought fresh energy to her life. Here's what Helen learned: adaptability and willingness to embrace change provide more reliable long-term security than trying to maintain static support systems that naturally evolve over time. Clinical studies from the MacArthur Foundation show that seniors who maintain flexible mindsets report significantly higher life satisfaction during major life transitions. Research found that adaptability is one of the strongest predictors of successful aging because it allows individuals to create new sources of support when previous ones are no longer available. How do you know if you're resisting change instead of developing adaptability? Look out for feeling upset when familiar routines change, or avoiding new approaches because they feel uncomfortable. You might assume that changes in your environment are automatically negative, or feel anxious about any changes to established patterns. These indicate that flexibility could significantly improve your ability to thrive regardless of changing circumstances. Here's the empowering truth: adaptability can be developed at any age, and seniors who embrace change often discover opportunities they never would have found by staying in familiar patterns. Begin with approaching small changes as adventures rather than disruptions, and progressively build comfort with trying new approaches to familiar challenges. What's wonderful is that adaptable people often attract support because they're interesting and resilient rather than rigid. Plus, you'll find that curiosity and flexibility often lead to unexpected discoveries that improve your life. Which of these support sources would make the biggest difference in your life? Share your thoughts below. And if you found this valuable, please subscribe and ring the notification bell. Your engagement helps us reach more seniors who need these empowering insights. This alone could transform your approach to aging, from depending on others for security to building unshakable internal resources that carry you confidently through any challenge. Looking back, these 6 sources of support reveal that true security after 60 comes from building your own foundation rather than hoping others will provide what you need. These resources aren't about rejecting family relationships. They're about creating stability that enhances rather than burdens those relationships while ensuring you're never left vulnerable. The good news is that developing even one of these support sources can immediately improve your confidence and security. You're not too old to build emergency funds, improve your health, learn new skills, or develop resilience. The wisdom you've gained provides the perfect foundation for creating unshakable independence. If you've been relying too heavily on family for support, know that building your own resources is the most loving thing you can do for both yourself and your loved ones. Tonight or today, choose one support source that resonates most with your situation and take the first step towards strengthening it. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share which support source you're most excited to develop. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to having you join us again in the next video.